I am recording this in the year of 2025. I'm guessing by the time you're seeing it, it's January of 2026. Now, I've been doing this channel for about 6 years, and my style of content has changed a lot. And when you've been going for 6 years, inevitably, you have a few fuck ups here and there. So, as a way to reflect on things, this video is going to go over my top 5 least favorite videos. Now, truthfully, every Bradworst YT video sucks fat ass, but these I think are just the most interesting to talk about. And just because I'm saying these videos are bad doesn't necessarily mean they're irredeemable. I still had fun making some of them. There's some funny jokes in them. There's some good production value. I think the thumbnails on a lot of them are pretty decent. So if you like any of these, then that's okay. Now, this is not going to be a ranking based on how awful they are. They're just kind of listed out in no particular order, except for the last one. The number one spot is a video that I think is genuinely the worst thing I have ever created, but we'll get there when we get there. Number 5, Amazing Fantasy Lego Stop Motion. Amazing Fantasy is the first episode of the Lego stop motion series that I made, and I believe it was one of the very first stop motions I ever did that had sound, though I could be remembering that wrong. This series is something that I always did purely for fun, and the longer it went on, the more proud of it I became. Like, episodes 12 and 13, I think, are genuinely really good, even if they're not like high art or anything. I'm very proud of how they turned out. And going back to that first episode, it was so unbelievably scuffed. The voice acting wasn't very good. The audio itself wasn't like synced properly. The camera picture quality was really blurry. And I think I had like a mental breakdown that same day, like right before recording. I can't remember exactly why, but I just remember recording those first few lines with like dried tears in my eyes for whatever reason. It is nice to compare the old stuff to the new stuff and see how much I've grown and learned since then, but I feel like lately I haven't really been doing any growing at all. You might notice, well, actually, you probably won't notice, because I know I said that I do this purely for my own satisfaction, but there are still some views coming to these videos. Someone keeps liking them. I'm not really sure who, but thank you. And to anyone who is out there keeping up with it, you may have noticed I have not uploaded a new one in like almost a year, which is also weird because I said I was going to do a big hour-long movie. And you might think, oh, well, you're just busy working on the movie, right? Sure, let's go with that. There are a lot of reasons the movie is getting delayed, but putting all of them aside for like reasons that are completely aside from those, I have been second guessing the stop motions a lot lately. And no, it's not my own satisfaction. You know, again, I like making them. It's not that they don't get enough views, because they do get some, and I don't really care about the views with this sort of thing. It's just that, like, I want to change my style of content. Or not like change the style, but I mean, I want to start reviewing more adult stuff, more mature stuff. And a lot of these stop motions that I do, artistically, they just don't really fit to have cursing or anything inappropriate in them, so I usually just mark them as for kids anyway. And I already have a few videos on the channel that are age restricted, and my plan is to do more. Look, I'm a teenager. I'm not underage, but I am still a teenager. Not gonna say my actual age is, you can figure it out yourself. And yeah, I want to, for lack of a better word, make the channel a bit more X-rated. And I don't know if this will be something temporary or forever. I don't know, but the thing is, either way, I don't really feel comfortable having like made for kids stuff on the same channel that's doing all this age restricted stuff. So my, I guess, suggestion is, or maybe not suggestion, but question is, should I start separating the channel? Should I have an entire channel that's just stop motions and then keep the main channel as just reviews? Should I maybe just make a second channel that's just age restricted stuff and have all the not age restricted stuff be on the main channel and then keep the stop motions? Do I just make 3 channels for all of them? I don't know. I sincerely doubt most main channel viewers will really miss the stop motions if they're gone. And even if they are gone, I probably won't like not do them. I might still have more experimental stuff on the main channel, maybe have more comedy shorts. I used to do more like humorous stop motion shorts, or like some that are trying to kind of be like horror shorts or something, and those would sometimes have cursing in them, so I might bring that back. I don't know. I guess that is what I'm asking you, the viewer, is really what do you think I should do? Is introducing X-rated stuff to the channel even like a good idea at all? Is that something that just shouldn't happen? Or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, what do you, the viewer, want to see is my question. And before pivoting away from number 5, there's just one kind of interesting trivia fact about Amazing Fantasy, the stop motion, is that originally it wasn't going to even be the first episode. It would have been a 3-part episode about Batman meeting Spider-Man. It would have shown Venom's origin story and Green Goblin getting impaled by his glider. It would have explained why Batman recruited Spider-Man. But I made the first episode using a different application, and it was really shitty, and I couldn't get the audio to work, so I just got a different application entirely, and then decided to skip the first 3 episodes and go straight to episode 4. And I retitled episode 4 Amazing Fantasy, because originally it was Heart of Iron, because about Iron Man. So now it's Amazing Fantasy to make it feel more like the premiere. And so yeah, I guess there's like a lost media pilot episode of this that doesn't exist anymore. It's not canon, by the way. I might rework it into a little short movie, but it's not canon. And it's also even funnier because the whole plot of the first episode is Spider-Man quitting being Batman's sidekick, even though it's the first episode. Like some cartoons do that. I don't know why. The first episode of Jimmy Neutron is about him like not wanting to be Boy Genius anymore, and it's like the status quo isn't even established yet. Why are you already breaking the status quo? Whatever. Number 4, Dreamer's Odyssey, the entire freaking series. Dreamer's Odyssey was a series I did, and it was basically just a giant ripoff of Puppet Game, even though that's already just a giant ripoff of Danganronpa, and Danganronpa in and of itself is also a ripoff of Battle Royale, and Battle Royale is a ripoff of Battle for Dream Island. But of course, the true genesis of the Battle Royale genre came from the real original, Total Drama Island. I pretty much wanted to write my own mystery sci-fi horror book thing. And what was it about? I couldn't tell you. It kept getting more and more complicated, and then I just stopped remembering. I just stopped thinking about it, so I completely forgot what it was even about. But it was something really confusing. I didn't have any plan. I just made it all up as I went on. It was not very good. And I even did a series of, I guess, like audio books where I would basically just read each chapter. And these were somehow even worse than the actual chapters themselves because of just how, I don't know, I already said scuffed, but yeah, just how scuffed they could be at times. Because I'd have to read a script while recording, the setup was very awkward. I normally don't have scripts, I just kind of talk out my ass. But with this, I had to read off of it, so I would basically sit there, and then if I like made a mistake or whatever, I'd have to re-record the entire segment if I pronounced something wrong or accidentally like I don't know did this and then made a noise that wasn't supposed to fit. I just have to completely scratch the entire thing, and you know it's interesting because when recording, you sometimes get in the zone and you're like, you feel like you can't mess up, but then you're like so in the zone you can't stop recording, and then you end up messing up anyway, and then now you just have to scrap that entire audio file. It's annoying. And I try not to be annoying about it. I don't want to like push it in everyone's faces all the time, but like with the Lego stop motions, there was a non-zero amount of people actually like watching and keeping up with it. Like again, like I said, sometimes they would get likes, they would get a decent amount of views sometimes. Dreamer's Odyssey was not the same. Like actually, genuinely, nobody cared. And that's okay, they don't have to care. But you know who does? Me. And the problem is that I don't care. Not anymore, not really. And the problem that I had, and that a lot of early writers have, is that they want their first book to be like this 2,000 page giant fantasy epic with 2 billion characters and 10 billion years of lore, of a big magnum opus, and basically Avatar The Last Airbender. They want their first book to be Avatar The Last Airbender. And here's the thing, your magnum opus, your masterpiece, your greatest idea will be your third, or fifth, or eighth, or 100th, but it's never, ever your first. I wrote Dreamer's Odyssey during the coronavirus pandemic when we were all, locked in our homes and really sad and lonely and depressed. Whenever that ended, I kind of just wasn't like upset enough to make another depressing, gory, air quotes, horror type book. All the rage and frustration of the early 2020s kind of just dissipated over time. And I had all these new ideas that I was much more excited about and interested in. And, I don't know, I didn't want to let go of it, basically. It's funny because it's like that old saying, murder your... reassess your priorities. I think that was my biggest issue, is all I had to do was just set a little bit of time, maybe like 20 minutes a day, to working on it. And instead I just kept procrastinating and doing, like, I don't know, other stuff. My brother said he wanted to do a 900-page novel with 3,000 years of backstory, and he said that 3 years ago, and he still hasn't started. Oh, he's just not done doing the backstory, is what he tells me. You're never going to do the backstory. You make up the backstory as you go along. You have to start small with this sort of thing. You can't just jump into a giant novel. And he told me, well, didn't Tolkien write Lord of the Rings as his first book? Which I think Hobbit was before that, but I don't really know. And look, man, you're not Tolkien. You weren't in World War I. You didn't fight in the trenches. You didn't kill people, real people, in the trenches where it's real lethal, real lethal. I'm not really the best person to give advice on anything, but if you want to talk about writing, I guess start by freestyling. Just don't, you know, take any inspiration. Don't trying to think, like don't procrastinate, just do it. Just start and then freestyle and then see where that leads you. And if you are planning on doing some big grand thing, at the very least plan it out ahead of time. Actually write down your ideas. That's a very important one. A lot of them writers will tell you not to document your ideas, but you absolutely should. And then sometimes, and I don't remember where I saw that, I heard this somewhere, sometimes just skip to the cool part. If you don't want to do all the boring build up or whatever, then just jump to the part that you're excited to do and then work your way backwards. You can do all the like boring context later. And it really shouldn't feel like a chore. Like if you're having fun writing something, then that's how you know you're doing it right. That's the point. That's why it's a hobby. It's to have fun. And write it in how does the quote go? Something about like write drunk, edit sober. Not literally, but just write whatever you want the first time and then reread it and re-edit everything. And have you don't necessarily need to have like first drafts, because that, like, you don't have to rewrite the entire thing, but definitely go back and revise and fix errors and clean things up. But whatever, that's just my 2 cents on that. Dreamer's Odyssey the movie coming soon. Numbers 3 and 2, the SCP Netflix video and the She-Hulk video. I'm putting them together because I hate them for similar reasons. If you're familiar with those, you might be asking, well, why are they on the chopping block? They're just pretty harmless, short skit videos, and that's, I guess, part of why that I don't normally do skits like that, not anymore anyway. They're both very low-hanging fruit. Oh, let me make fun of a popular mainstream thing to get attention. Starting with the less bad offender, the SCP one is basically just me joking, hey, if Netflix ever made an SCP show, here's what it would look like. So I make a few jokes, yada yada yada, and then the joke I make at the end is really weird. I don't know why I thought of this. It was like, what if the plot twist of the series was that the main character was an SCP, and then it was revealed that like everyone else was the whole time, and then the janitor in the background also was? I think the idea is that it was supposed to be like a stereotypical soap opera ending, but like I don't know why I associated that with Netflix. I don't even fucking use Netflix. Like I don't know what the stereotypes or tropes of that website even is. So I don't know why I thought to do that joke. But the way that I worded it was like, oh, the place was run by SCPs, which in the lore is kind of already true because of the O5 Council. So there was one person who pointed that out, and then I replied to the comment like, oh yeah, no, I just made a mistake. It was fine. And they were like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then every single day, or not really every day, but like every week or so, I just get another comment like, hey, the O5 Council, you forgot about the O5 Council. Technically, the place is run by the O5 Council. Shut up! Okay, why? No one, everyone who left that comment didn't bother to check if someone else had already left that comment. None of them saw the original person who pointed that out and saw me reply to it. I think I might have pinned that comment, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. But like, no one saw me respond. No one bothered to just like check that they weren't the first person to point that out. And okay, sure, you caught me. I'm not a freaking lore master. I haven't read every single one of the 6 billion freaking wiki files on the SCP wiki. Like, I may not be an expert, but you know what I'm also not? A fake fan, okay? Because a fake fan is someone who unironically watches those SCP explained videos. I only saw like 3 of those 5 years ago, and even back then I didn't like them. I absolutely would like to get more into it. The problem is just I'd have to better manage my time, and I'm a complete fucking dumbass, and I don't know how to do that. But the thing is, that's not really the main thing about that video that I don't like. The actual main thing I don't like about it is more of an unintentional consequence. About a month and a half after uploading it, the usual "05 Council" comments started to disappear, and then it shifted to a different same comment that I just kept getting every single week. Hey, you forgot the race swapping. You forgot the colorblind casting. You forgot the DEI forced diversity. I was getting, like, a lot of that. And I guess, okay, to be fair, I probably could have made a joke about Netflix and corporations and forced diversity and pandering and stuff like that. I just didn't really think to at that moment because it was something that just wasn't even on my mind. And again, I made that video like an hour after coming up with the idea for it. I did not put a whole lot of thought into that script. But the thing is, though, like, I get most of these people are probably just joking, and I understand the sentiment that they're coming from, but it's just, I don't know, maybe this is a me thing. I just don't like seeing that kind of stuff on my channel. Okay, this might come as a surprise, as a shock, and I swear this is not something that I'm just making up just now. I have a very unhealthy sense of humor. Like, the things that I laugh at, and I mean like the things that I really laugh at, that I like belly laugh at, are some of the most like just immature, degenerate, awful, horrible things out there. I grew up watching YTPs. Like, literally in some of those the joke is just a slur, and that's the entire joke. And I find that funny. That shit's fucking hilarious. But I, on my channel, choose not to do humor like that because I just don't really want to be putting that type of image out there. I want to use my platform for something good. And the thing is, whenever I see comments like this, it's like, it sometimes feels like these people aren't joking. It's like, do you actually hate corporations, or is this an excuse to hide something else? I don't know. Maybe like it's just me. Maybe this is just me looking too far into things or whatever. But like I don't know. I just don't like that. The thing that I kept like thinking when I saw like those comments is like, what about Connor from SCP Confined? Like, my main introduction to the SCP series, Connor is like half Inuit, I think. Like, does that count as DEI forced diversity, or does that series get a pass because it's an indie series, because it's not made by a corporation? I mean, maybe that kind of makes sense. I guess maybe that's a bad example because I think Lord Bung has not the cleanest record last I checked. And then at some point, there were two people in my comments arguing if Shy Guy could be black or something. And it's like, when you look at this creature, you don't think to yourself, hey, what ethnic background does he come from? Like, I never once, like, considered the Shy Guy having a race. Like, you don't, that's not, what the fuck? One person was like, I don't see any problem with Shy Guy being black. And another person was like, no, he has to be white because he's scarier with the white skin. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up, you're both bad guys. And then we have the She-Hulk video, which felt especially mean-spirited. This was like right after the first episode came out when I decided to do literally like just the same day. Again, same day, I got the idea. I made this whole thing in like 1 hour. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad video. It's still funny. You can still find it funny. But one of the main, like, I guess, traits about the video was that I hadn't even like watched it. So essentially, yeah, I was just trying to make fun of it even though I hadn't seen it, which is the textbook definition of bad faith criticism, and it's something that I get really mad at other people for doing all the time. It made me look like a gigantic fucking hypocrite. And the way that I kind of justified it to myself at the time was, oh, this isn't my official review, this is just a parody video. This shouldn't really be taken seriously, these aren't my actual points. But like, that's stupid of me to think, because obviously people are going to take this as my actual review. And a video like this feels disingenuous. It's like cheating. It's reverse rage bait. It's like, oh, I'm gonna jump on the hate train and make fun of something that everyone already doesn't like, and then wow, surprise, surprise, the video got praise. Fucking whoop-de-doo. There's no real criticism, there's no real takeaway, it's just me using She-Hulk as like a punching bag to get views, and it worked because people liked the video. And I'm not even defending She-Hulk either, I'm not really saying it's like good or bad, I still haven't even watched it, and I probably never just fucking will. I've said this before, but like, I am a DC fanboy, and I have been kinda semi-preying on Marvel's downfall for years, and it's not even like I dislike Marvel, it's just that they're so popular, it's annoying. When DC is objectively better because they have more animation and less corporate synergy. Fuck off. And so I made a lot of, like, MCU hate videos for like several years, and you may notice I haven't done any recently because they were attracting a crowd that I really didn't like. The moment everything kind of hit me, it was some video, I don't remember which one it was, I think it might have been the She-Hulk one, but someone like left a comment that said, oh hey, cool video, and their name tag, I don't know how they did this, their name tag had a German symbol from the 40s. I'll just say that. like an emoji of that in their like name tag. I don't even know how the hell they typed that. And it's like, oh, well, maybe it was the Buddha symbol, or maybe it was just something they were doing as a joke. Shut the fuck up, man. Just like, fuck off. The fact that the person was being casual and friendly just makes me more disgusted. Forgive me if I don't want to be buddy buddy with that type of human being, okay? And don't bother looking for the comment because I deleted it immediately upon seeing it. That's why I don't really remember exactly which video it was from, but I'm pretty sure it was from one of these or something from this era. And this is why I've just kind of shifted to not talk about the MCU at all anymore. That's why I try to talk more about childhood cartoons and indie animation and just things that I actually like instead of just being angry all the time. Like, if you truly hate corporations like Disney or Netflix or whatever, then just stop giving them attention by complaining about them all the time. The best way to beat the game is to not play. The funny thing is, I feel like a lot of culture war arguments can just be summarized in keep it to yourself, man. Nobody needs to hear that. Nobody cares. That's not an analysis, that's not anything. Which, speaking of keeping things to yourself and yapping about shit you don't actually know anything about, that brings me to the number one worst Bradworst YT video on the entire channel. It has the most backlash, and I think it, as video, is genuinely, like, kind of harmful, is the Film Theory AI video. Funnily enough, I think this video has one of my best thumbnails. Clearly it worked because a lot of people clicked on it, but it was very heavily, I guess, rage bait-y. I am pretty good at rage baiting. I do consider myself the master. Wait, hold on. Do people even say rage bait anymore? On your end, it's 2026. Is that like, do people still say that? AI is a subject that I do care deeply about. Around the same time I made that video, I actually had a school project where I had to like write a paper about a controversial thing. And AI just seemed like the easiest thing since it was newer at the time. And so I watched a lot of videos and read a lot of articles, and I watched them on my normal account, so I ended up getting more and more AI related videos in my feed. I started seeing, or I guess learning more and more how these systems worked and what they did, and the more I learned about it, the more angry I became. And then seeing Film Theory cover Leo's toy store, still calling it that because it's funny, for me, that was like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That video was not meant to be a Film Theory hit piece, it was meant to be an AI hit piece, but a lot of it really did just feel like me very wrongfully treating Film Theory like a punching bag and just screaming and cursing at them the whole time. And I feel like even AI, the way I criticized it, wasn't very professional. Starting with the Film Theorists, I remember they did a kind of AI response video after their Leopold's Toy Establishment video, where they talked about how, like, kind of covering AI stuff is going to be inevitable on the channel and using AI resources is inevitable. And, like, this was a good video, okay? It was a very transparent, very open, honest video, and then I completely shat all over it. Look, I suck at editing. That's why all my videos are just still images. And I don't know how to, like, download or clip clips. Or I guess I do, I just don't. I'm too lazy to do it. I could have still recorded audio from that video and actually, like, used quotes from it and responded to them, but I didn't. I just basically spoke for them, and I did it in a very inappropriate way. I completely misrepresented their argument and that video, and for that I am sorry. I still can't say I agree with their original decision to support Leo's toy store. I think they should have just not covered it at all, though there is a footnote to that. I heard somewhere that apparently the creator behind Leo's toy store actually did like hire an artist and stopped using AI to make everything. The thing is, I heard that, but I tried looking for it again and I couldn't verify it. So since I'm unsure, I don't know. Like if that is what happened, then like good for him. Good ending. He Leo got the good ending. It's funny because I think back to when AI like generated Gen AI was like first uh exploding onto the scene. One of like a thought that I had was this can be a springboard, not a replacement for art, but like a way for people to jump off. Where if someone has good ideas but absolutely no talent, if there's a Mike Wazowski out there that needs their Sully, they can use AI to attract them. And I actually I have a lot of ideas, and I like my ideas. I think they're good, but I suck at drawing. So I have also felt tempted to, I don't know, I didn't, but still, if that were to happen to me, if I used AI to bring an idea I had to life, and people really liked it that much, and someone reached out to me being like, hey, I want to draw you your thing, that would make me so happy. Again, I don't know for certain if this is what happened, but like, if it is, then brother, my heart goes out to you, Elon. But about AI itself, the video pretty much almost immediately after dropping it, it immediately became outdated. So much, and even especially now, it's very, very outdated. Like I said, oh well, I'll never be fooled by AI, and I kind of have, kind of haven't. Um, like yes, it's a lot more convincing now, but I try to take time to study how it looks so I can even if I'm fooled by it, I can still use context clues to figure it out. There's a YouTube channel, I don't remember what it's called, but it is all about like kind of pointing out the flaws in newer generative AI stuff, so I'll probably link him down below. And I very much agree that I don't like AI, and I don't like it even more now. But a lot of the ways I argued against it were not very professional. Like I just kept saying, "Oh, I don't like it because it looks gross," or "I don't like it because people are gonna use it to be lazy," and that's kind of not. That's like there are worse things about it than that. The real worst stuff about it is that it scrapes data and that it uses up a lot of power and water and that it might actually replace people. You know, a lot of people praise Grok, which I really don't like because I feel like Grok, if you want a perfect example of everything bad about AI and then some, then just look at Grok. So I believe it was in Memphis. That's where the like servers for Grok are located, and they burn so much power that they release all this carbon dioxide and fuel, and they literally poison like the communities there and give everyone there like lung cancer with all the emissions. And what are people using Grok for? Well, they're using it to put women in bikinis without their consent, and then also it went on a weird rant and started calling itself Mecha Hitler. Oh yeah, and let's not forget about all the chat bots. Why have a girlfriend when you can be antisocial and goon all day? Ever heard of Friend, that weird amulet thing that's definitely not spyware? Hey, go get yourself a friend. People spread misinformation, AI psychosis. People become obsessed with using AI for everything, even though it's not really that accurate. People have, uh, I can't say that word on YouTube, unalived themselves over AI. Remember all those weird Elsagate videos from like 2017 that groomed children? Well, now with the advent of AI, perverts can produce those way faster and flood the internet with even more weird AI fetish shit. A YouTube comment I saw once described it as a CEO's wet dream, the ultimate late stage capitalism monster. The list goes on and on and on. But really, my stance personally on AI is kind of the same as it's always been, which is I kind of don't care. I'm not that I don't care, but it's that I'm just kind of numb to it at this point. When I made that first video, my thought process was, I've said my piece. I don't have to ever talk about it ever again. And similarly, yeah, even with all the new innovations coming out, I still feel like my original point still stands. It's just, I don't care for it. I don't like it. Even if it's outdated, I still, whatever. The main reason I'm bringing it up again now is as an apology to film theory. The main thing about the video that I got wrong. And come to think of it, I think at the end of my original video, I tried to like say, oh, well, this is how, if I had to integrate AI into everything, this is how I do it. And I guess I still somewhat agree with that part of the video. Like, I think that's actually what Valve is doing, where they're like, if we use AI in a game, then we'll tell you, which was basically my same idea. So, I mean, yeah, there's that. But the thing is, right, I talk about how, like, oh, I don't care about it. Even with all the issues and problems around it, I'm not really a professional. I can't speak on all the other stuff. Like, I've seen some videos debunking AI sentience, and I've seen, again, like, the whole thing about people offing themselves. That is all stuff that I feel like I can't cover because I just really don't know enough about it. And, like, I've said I don't like it. That's all I needed to do. I essentially, I just need to stay in my lane, is kind of what I'm saying with this. But I bring all of that up just kind of as context to say this last thing is something that I think truly is, or truly might be, the worst thing about AI ever. Maybe even worse than like all the other stuff you've ever heard anyone else say. And this last thing, this worst thing, is somehow both the most obvious and also least expected thing out there. I remember in my video I said, oh, AI will never become sentient. That's just a sci-fi fantasy. There's no way that'll ever happen. Well, pack it in, boys, because it might happen. A lot of big tech CEOs have said that, like, they actually do have the capabilities, the means to build a supercomputer brain. And my god, they're idiots. We're fucked. We're fucked because Sam Altman wanted to be a goddamn retard and build a supercomputer. Excuse my French, but seriously, that's just what it is. So there is a petition, I think I posted it on my community tab, about this issue, and please sign it. Someone needs to keep these goddamn tech bros in line, and I think we can do that if enough people sign this petition. And, like, remember my philosophy of just, I kinda don't care anymore. People who use it are gonna use it, people who fall for it are gonna fall for it, and I'm neither of them, and I'm happy with that. So there you have it, the worst of Bradworst YT. You know that old saying, new year, new me? What better way to start the new year than wrapping up some old loose ends? You know, I remember way back when 2025 started, and I was like, this is gonna be the year of me. This is gonna be the year I really do shit and get shit done, and then I did absolutely nothing. Well, I didn't do absolutely nothing. I did make progress, I just didn't really finish anything. And it's like for years and years and years I've said, this time I'm gonna actually do it. This time I'm gonna actually do it. And you know what? Maybe I don't have to keep lying to you or to me. Maybe 2026 will be another year of progress with no end. And maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. And the channel hasn't really been as active in recent years as it has been in its glory days, I guess, but you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. The phrase is new year, new me, not new year, new channel. I haven't been working on it as much because I have been focusing more on myself. I've been happier, I've had more friends, I've I mean, I'm not like super healthy. I don't really exercise a whole lot. But I guess that's the last puzzle piece that I need to start working on this year before I can finally become a complete person again. Or for the first time. It's funny because I always go back to the internet and I see people talk about how lonely and stinky and depressed they are, and I think you remind me of me, how I used to be before I got good. No, but really, it's like, I don't know, I just don't get why people go out of their way to make themselves miserable sometimes. I'm not trying to, like, brag or make fun of them or anything. It's just, I don't know. I guess maybe that's just what has to happen when you're here. That's what it always has to be. But, whatever. I know every year I say things are going to be different, but this time I think things really, really might be different. Or maybe they aren't. I don't know. Either way, here's to January.